Hello, 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 and welcome to another edition of the review with Heather's Passion Academy. And I am Heather of Heather's Passion Academy. And today we are reviewing the season finale of Family Empire. And so they've had, I guess this is 8 episodes. I've been so used to stuff like Love and Marriage Huntsville having a million episodes that we can't seem to. It's like y'all could have gave them more episodes and then cut out Love and Marriage Huntsville, honestly, because everybody tired of them. Everybody. But this is not about them. This is about this show. So it had the, first season, 8 episode situation. And I'm glad that I did tune in because we actually did get to see some real estate business happening. So I'm glad about that. Um, and then, not only did we see the business going on, but we also saw what happens when family, has a little bit of a, when you have family stuff going on. Because if you're in business together, I'm sure you're doing business things, but also when you have family around, well, when you're doing business with family, it can get messy. So I can see how that could be a thing. You know what I mean? Like, um, it's a problem sometimes. We know that in the last episode, we saw, oh my goodness, and I'm sitting up here reading my paper. Jermisha was looking to telling or sharing with the family about, how they're I guess sharing with the family about her idea of how to work with the land that Granny want to give up. Now let's not forget Granny wants to give up this land, but everybody's been telling them or telling her that, before you give up this land, Granny, maybe we should look at some other things. So I know at some point she was really hell bent on, let me just go ahead and sell this land because I want to make sure my kids are taken care of and all of that. And I get it, you know, you want to make sure your kids are taken care of. But I think that what everybody else or what Jermisha was trying to get her to understand is that you could build on the legacy that you already have. And she wanted to show her how you can that little turn that land. I'm not gonna say that little bit of land because it's a couple of acres. So um, how you can turn that into something that works better for the family long term, because what they said is that, Granny want to make sure her kids taken care of, but she don't really care. That's what I get from her. They like, she don't really care about the rest of us like that. And I don't think that's necessarily the case, but I do think that she is more concerned that her kids are the ones that are being taken care of more so than to make sure that the grandkids are taken care of. And I guess what they're looking at is like the trickle down effect. Um, and I get, that could work, but we know in most cases, trickle down doesn't necessarily trickle down to who it needs to trickle to. So what they're looking at is building off of the land, using the knowledge that they got from her to make the family really start to have generational wealth that's going to um, be something that benefits the entire family. And so, these are things that you got to think about when you are building family legacy. And yeah. So let's get into it. I just wanted to make sure I had my visuals up before I got started. Thank y'all for listening to me ramble for a few minutes. Anyway, we left off the last episode with Jermisha and the Sheltons giving their pitch on how they wanted to develop the land that Granny wants to sell. And we just kind of talked about that a little bit, right? Um, she said that, to Cheryl, this is Granny said to Cheryl that she liked to sell and wanted to see But then also she didn't know that there was another portion to the pitch as far as like rental and all those things are going on. So Jamisha has all them to go out to the property to go and talk more about the land. And then Cheryl says the concern is, they're talking about 5 years to build those phases. Cause again, it's 28 houses. They're kind of 28 units, I guess they're going to say that. Um, so they wanted to do 10, like basically 3 phases, 10, 10, and then 5. Or 10, 10, then 8, I'm sorry. And then she was like, well, the older people like to go ahead and knock it all out. And so Nicole is like, well, it's going to be a better investment if you guys, stretch it out 5 to 10 years. Also, by I can't think of the guy's name, but the Shelton dude was letting them know that what you're doing is, instead of trying to invest all that money out of your pocket, you take the opportunity to build from the use the bank's money. And then also, once you get those properties developed, then not only are you using the bank's money, but you're also generating income. So you're going into a cash flow situation instead of a cash deficit situation. So that kind of perked Granny's ears up. And so after a more in-depth explanation, they finally got Granny on board after a whole season. And so, everybody's excited, like, yay. And then they all agree that it's actually needed in the community to have some established housing. And being that they are already kind of known in the community, this kind of helps. They're building, they're trying to beautify the area, they're trying to build it up, without it being, quote, gentrified. Because you'd much rather that the people who are already a part of the area are the ones developing and everything. So next season, we hope to see them moving forward with the development. We gonna see. We hope so. Anyway, at Nicole's house, she's having a conversation with Hubs and with Big Larry. So this is Big Larry. This is Little Larry's daddy. So he's over visiting, and they're just kind of talking about some things about her really wanting another child and not wanting her daughter to grow up without a sibling, because she cherishes her relationship with her siblings. And her father-in-law is like, "Look, it's like putting a chihuahua in a cage with a pit bull," because he's talking about how she's been a only child for so long that it may be hard to have her transition to, having a sibling, which I understand because, being I'm the youngest of my family, the next sister to me is 7 years older. It was rough. Let me just say that, because she was used to being the baby before I got there. So it was a little rough, a little rocky. But also, this is why Nicole says she wants to adopt someone closer in age to her daughter. Um, I just also feel like little Larry is not interested in having another child. I think he's fine with where everything is right now. He's just kind of on board. Um, just because his wife is, but honestly, his thing was, well, if Leighton ain't comfortable with it, then that's it. And she's like, well, now she's 7, so she can't have the final word on that. But I think that really what it is he's hoping that, I don't think he really wants another child. I think he's good with what he's doing, and he liked to work. And so, you know, another child, man, you have to figure out some more work-life balance. So over at Keisha and Caramel's house, they just closed on their home. So Jackie comes over bearing gifts of cake and or pie and flowers, and takes a tour of the home. Jackie's really a sweet, sweet lady. You can tell that Jackie really cares about Keisha and the family, and she wants Keisha to know that she is family. She includes her. She seems to be there at all the milestones. That's what even Keisha said. So basically, once she knew that she existed, she went straight into auntie mode. It wasn't no if, ands, or buts about it. And I think that that's one of the reasons why Joy don't like her. Because I feel like Joy just don't like her because she just decided that she's not going to wait on them. She's going to go ahead and do what she know is right for her. Um, But they do sit down and they talk about the presentation and the crawfish boil, and she's just trying to do a temperature check, make sure everything's okay. Caramel says she was taken aback about the way everyone and everything escalated. Um, and Jackie was like, I just never seen anything get to that level before, and things should have been resolved years ago. And that's true because again, everybody mad at everybody but Bubba, and Bubba is the Bubba is the reason why there is so much going on. But let me also say that at first I was kind of iffy about Caramel because I didn't really know what her angle was, what her intentions were. But I do see now why she's like she is and why Keisha's the way that she is. So, I hope that they're gonna have a really decent relationship, especially now that they done blended their families. But I see why Caramel was kind of hearing all the information about what's going on with this family. I can see why there's trepidation about coming around them. Child, I wouldn't want to be around them either with all this going on. Uh, you know, it just be happening. So over at Monet's house, Joy comes in to talk about how she's feeling about the boy. They're having a visit and she's talking about her feelings. And Joy is really centering herself as though she is the one that is basically like she's the child that's been abandoned. And I wish you realize that this really isn't so much about her as it is about the fact that Keisha needed to know that she belongs somewhere, and that Joy is part of the problem why Keisha feels left out, because at every turn she want to make sure that Keisha ain't in family pictures. And I think a lot of folks have tried to appease Joy and Bubba all these years, but enough is enough. The girl is 40. 40. I'm 46. That's a long time. Anyway, Joy said Bubba was okay with everything until Keisha cussed him out. And she was so disappointed in Keisha. I'm like, and all this, and you still ain't mad at this man? Not mad at all, huh? That's what tripped me out. You're disappointed in Keisha, but not disappointed in the fact that Bubba is the reason why Keisha exists. Yeah. Anyway, so she goes on this rant about how Keisha's mama shouldn't have been with Bubba because they was living together. She and Bubba were living together. And I'm like, ma'am, it still doesn't mean for you to be mean toward, someone. That's just not cool. But it's funny that she wants respect for Bubba and he didn't even have respect for her. Anyway, back at Keisha's house, they talk about how she actually never did get the answers that she was looking for. And she talked about um how Jackie was the one that did all the reaching out. Of course, we know now that Joy has all this smoke for Jackie because Jackie was the one that made sure that Keisha was a part of the family. And then the other aunts followed suit and made sure that they kind of rallied around her as well. So back at Monet's house, Joey was talking about how she just wanted a blood test, and she talking about Bubba chose to marry me, and sometimes the kids don't like that. I'm like, You in competition with his kid? Stop it! No, that wasn't the problem. The problem is you're excluding his other child because she don't belong to you. That's a problem. I hope she sees the show. And I know that people are always going to talk about edits, but I hope she runs this show back and sees how bad she looks trying to justify why she acts a certain way towards someone who was a child and still is her father's child. I don't know. She said something about Jackie and the other sisters saying that they're not gonna go get Keisha no more. They had called her one time and said, "Well, we're not gonna go get Keisha no more, but we're gonna still get her things." And she was like, "Well, I can't tell you how to spend your money." I just feel like that conversation didn't happen. I don't know. I just feel like that conversation didn't happen. But Jackie asked Keisha to consider talking to her dad because, you only get one dad, and I really wish I can talk to my dad. Da, da, da. But I want everybody to stop putting the onus on Keisha for reaching out. Her dad needs to apologize. Joy needs to apologize, and they need to reach out. And when Joy said Keisha was blessed to be born in the family, I was like, "Girl, you are in-law. What are you talking about?" Nevertheless, they gonna say what they gonna say. So over at the agency, I guess we're gonna call it the agency. The Jays are talking about the listing that they have, which is the $4 million joint that's gonna help them to catapult themselves into the luxury scene. And so they're just kind of talking about how they need to stage the home, how much this is their debut, and they have a lot of irons in the fire, and they want to make sure they can do everything. Jaquita's talking about how much she wants to get another home because they've been in the home that they're in now for 10 years. And that's why, Chris really need to have that stable income so they can look forward to that. Also, she wants to have another child. You know, Jaquita, when she has the other thing, Jaquita was saying whenever she has issues, like if it's a slow season with selling homes or whatever, she can go to the pharmacy and pick up extra shifts so that she can have some stability in their home. And she doesn't see that same level of drive and dedication from Chris. Now, some of this stuff I'm saying because it's reading between the lines. And some of it is actually what they're saying. So I'm just gonna put that. I'm just gonna say everything I'm saying isn't necessarily what they said. Some of it is me seeing what's not being said. Anyway, Jermisha's like, child, I hope y'all work it out because if y'all get a divorce, I'm gonna have to fire Chris. And I think that's funny that everybody's like, no. And the other thing that Jaquita was saying was that if she does decide to, if they do decide to have another child, then, where the money gonna be coming from while she um on maternity leave. So there's a lot to think about it with that. So over at the other property, they're setting up with Chris and he's getting ready to get some B-roll done to showcase the house. He doesn't seem very excited to be there, but he always say, "Well, I'm doing it because Quita need this," and I'm like, "But you should want to do it also because you have a family to take care of. And don't put it on Quita, put it on yourself too. If you know you're not bringing in enough with your side business, then you need to have a main business." Um, he said he'd rather do storytelling instead of filming the same old real estate. But the thing about it is, if you're creative enough, you can create a story while selling real estate because that's what you need to do anyway. Part of it is selling a story. How do people, when you're coming into a property and everything, what's the story behind the property, especially if it's an older property, or what story could be written? You can do this. Make it happen. Make this stuff happen for you. Um, yeah, so he's back in complain mode. So they don't know. I don't feel like this partnership gonna work out too much longer with them. So at the lunch, everything's looking great. The people are coming in. There's food being served, drinks flowing. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's all dressed up, looking all nice. Quita and Monet end up having a little moment about the boil and how they just need to put things aside because today ain't the day to be trying to tear up that house and argue over what's going on. The G's are talking about how nice the pitch was. Everybody just seems to be in a really good mood. And they said that, the good thing about developing their property and everything is that it's going to be a good tribute to Paw, which is their grandfather. Nicole and Monet check in on Kesha and they wanted to know how she was doing. They want her to know that they have her back. They are sisters. They're not half sisters. We want to, let's get our trio together. Let's do this thing. Let's hug. And they try to hug it out. But all I'm saying is that Joy gonna make sure that they ain't gonna be a trio because Joy don't want to acknowledge Kesha. Meanwhile, Joy and Bubba do walk in. And what tripped me out is when she says, can I get a picture of y'all? And they like, who else with Keisha? And she said, no, just my family. And I thought that was really tacky, very tacky. And while they were taking a picture, Nikki goes over there to take a picture with Keisha. And let me say something. Now, I may have all my personal doubts about all these other people, but these aunties, when it comes to making sure that Keisha knows that she is part of the family and they are not going to let, anybody make her feel like she's not wanted, I got to say they have done a great job making sure that she knows that they are there for her. Um, so, you have a lot going on. Everybody's talking. That the investor and I guess the partner and then the other partner's brother, they're talking about how everything looks so nice and how, everything's going off really well. They're really hoping that they can get that property sold. Um, Nicole's trying to get Chris to be excited about being there. And like I said, Chris ain't really there mentally. You can tell his mind's somewhere else. Everybody's so happy to be there to celebrate with them because this is also them showing that they've been around for 5 years. And this is really, a good opportunity for them to show off what they can do and how they can level up, especially being a black owned business in Houston. I love how they give their speeches. What they're talking about, looking forward to the future and everything. Jermisha's stepping into the next phase and developing the property. Nicole is, looking to adopt, a child, of course, and move toward the luxury side of business. Quita wants to get a bigger home, and she's hoping she and Chris can stay on the same page so they can accomplish that. The ladies are getting along. All the cousins are, really working toward a future together, and I'm just loving that everybody's there to, uplift each other. So I can't wait to see what um, the next season is going to bring. Hopefully, we'll see more and more of what they got going on. So, tell me what you liked about this season. You did about this first season. What are you looking forward to for the next season? What would you like more of, less of? But I'll tell you what, I want to know more about them getting this situation with Keisha under wraps because I still feel like there's a lot more to tell about that. And then I also want Keisha to just go ahead and tell folks she's not okay because it's not her job to make everybody else feel better about her, about whatever they got going on. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. And I'd be honored if you support my channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing this review. Also hitting that notification bell so you'll know what the next show I'm going to start reviewing since this one had a season finale. And just you'll know when I upload the next recap. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.